Welcome back to Sam Fetterman's Red Sox podcast. Thank you for sticking with me as we just had our draft recap episode with Quinn Riley. If you didn't listen to that, make sure you take a listen. And now we're welcoming in Jake Russell to preview the Red Sox first series after the All-Star break against the Chicago Cubs. Jake, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Sam. Thanks for having me on.
So the Cubs and the Red Sox linked together, obviously, historically by their curses and Theo Epstein and Anthony Rizzo and I don't know, a lot of other
Craig Breslow.
Craig Breslow, that is true. But this is a crucial series for both teams right now. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you get the classic Wrigley Friday day game, which the Red Sox are not used to. Nobody is used to except for the Cubs, really. I mean, I'm sure the Cardinals and Pirates and Reds and the Brewers get their fair share of them, but it can't be. It's just not part of my cadence as a baseball fan. But
it's a little weird. Yeah.
That's Lucas Giolito against Colin Rea. And then Saturday, it's Brian Bayo against Shota Imanaga, and Sunday, Garrett Crochet against Matt Boyd. Those three starters to the Red Sox have been awesome, dominant for the last month of the season, last month plus. Giolito has been incredible. Bayo has really found himself again, and Garrett Crochet is, I mean, he's the leader in the American League in innings, in ERA, and ERA plus, and strikeouts. That's just what he is this year. Meanwhile, the Cubs are one of the more exciting teams in the league this year. So what can you tell us, just basic, about what has made this Cubs team kind of leave the last couple Cubs teams in the dust? And is the answer simply Pete Crow Armstrong?
Well, that's definitely part of it. I mean, you see the energy he brings to the team. He's been unbelievable this year. I mean, I think he's rocking like an 850 OPS still or something like that. And he plays just unbelievable defense.
Nothing's getting down in center field in this series for either team.
No, Rafael has been unbelievable too.
Exactly. We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah. So, but yeah, two teams with fantastic defensive center fielders. But really, I mean, acquiring Kyle Tucker it's hard to overstate or understate how big of an impact I think he's really had on this lineup. Like, obviously, Pete Armstrong breaking out like he has is huge. I mean, and then Carson Kelly he's got like a 850 OPS or something like that too. And that's been huge. But Kyle Tucker, I think the Cubs have really been missing someone who's just, you can always count on them. Obviously, Ian Happ is great. He's been a consistent 120 WRC plus hitter for 4 or 5 straight years, but he's a little streaky, and he's been on the downside of his normal production this year. But adding Kyle Tucker to the lineup, I think that was the biggest thing the Cubs could have done last offseason. And I know it's a pretty simple answer, but I really think it's the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Cubs lineup, and it's, Michael Busch, 160 WRC plus, Kyle Tucker, 146, Seiya Suzuki, 138, Pete Crow Armstrong, 133, Carson Kelly, 153. And obviously PCA kind of has been the most exciting piece to that mix this year. But just getting all of these things to go in the right direction for the Cubs, not just getting Tucker to play this well, but the fact that Michael Busch is a 160.
Yeah. I mean,
are there any concerns that, around kind of Cubs fans that this isn't what this is kind of the peak of where it's going to be at this point, and that there's going to be some regression from a bunch of players on this team? Because I know PCA's profile is really he's hit a ton of home runs, and that's really buoyed his production. Because look, they're home runs. Michael Busch was not someone you'd expect to hit like that. Carson Kelly as well. Is there any concern for the Cubs about offensive regression heading into the second half of the season?
I think you'd be wrong to say that it's that you don't have those thoughts, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I think that even if a lot of these players do regress, like, you know, if I don't think Tucker's going to regress because this is like the kind of player he's been. This is who he is, you know. But like PCA, I mean, look, like you said, he's been great. He's hit a lot of home runs, which is a little bit surprising. But you know, the plate discipline is. I still wonder, like, when is that really going to get exploited? You know what I'm saying? And he's been unbelievable with how bad his plate discipline is. So I'm not going to ask him to change it, but you do wonder a little bit. And Michael Busch, you know, same kind of thing. He only really just started playing against lefties. I mean, up until a week ago, he was pretty bad against lefties, but he's been hitting them lately. Obviously, Carson Kelly, I don't think he's a 150 WRC plus hitter. Like, no, he's just. I
don't think Carson Kelly is not.
You know, no, I don't think so either. But like, look, the Cubs signed him to be a 2-WAR platoon catcher, and what we've gotten from him up to this point, I mean, he's already at 2-WAR, I think, is more than we could have hoped for. I guess where I'm going with this is, even if some of our players that are probably going to regress, I think we'll be okay because we still have guys like Seiya. I mean, Seiya was a 135 bat last year. I think he was a 130 bat the year before. We know he's great. He hits the crap out of the ball. You know, he's fantastic. Tucker's fantastic. Ian Happ is probably due for some positive regression. So there's that. You know, Dansby and Nico are both who they've been their entire Cubs years, you know, average-ish hitters who Nico puts the ball in play a lot. Dansby strikes out a lot, but he's got some decent pop. He's got decent plate discipline. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of regression, especially from, you know, PCA and Kelly and maybe Busch. But also, like, I think these are outside of Kelly. I'm a little bullish on Kelly, but like PCA, I think he's probably a good hitter, and Busch is definitely a good hitter. He was pretty good last year. This year, he's taken a step forward. He sees the ball so well at the plate. He doesn't swing very hard, but like he just barrels the ball. Like I'm no swing coach. I'm no expert, but I think he's like kind of like Freddie Freeman, you know, in the sense that he optimizes his launch angle really well. Because you look at Freddie Freeman, he doesn't swing the bat exceptionally hard either, but he just puts the ball in the sweet spot. And Michael Busch kind of does the same thing. Obviously, I'm not saying he's Freddie Freeman or anything, because that's Freddie Freeman is great, but it's just what I think about him, I guess.
Cubs are 6th against lefties. They're 3rd against righties in WRC plus. So they've been really good against everyone offensively this year. The Red Sox obviously mash lefties because that's when you have when you have Romy Gonzalez and Rob Refsnyder kind of waiting wings as your lefty mashers. Romy is like what, 1,100 OPS against lefties this year.
Is he really? That's crazy.
It's crazy. Wow. And Rob Refsnyder has been like 900 OPS for the last 4 years or something against lefties. So the Red Sox kill lefties. The Cubs kill everyone. But this series, the Cubs are going to get the Red Sox 3 best pitchers. They're going to get the 3 pitchers who have been 3 of the best pitchers in the American League over the last month and a half, including the guy who is arguably the favorite for the Cy Young Award in the American League at the moment, Garrett Crochet. How have the Cubs fared against elite pitching this year? And obviously, Giolito and Bello may be in line for a little bit of regression themselves.
You know, it's kind of been up and down against elite pitching. We faced Skubal. I think we scored 1 run off of him, and that was during a stretch where he went like 40 innings without a walk, or maybe it wasn't 40 innings, but you remember that when he went on that crazy stretch? It was during that stretch.
That's basically
so I was like, you know what? It's whatever. I remember we faced Yamamoto earlier in the year, kind of got shut down by him. I mean, look, we just came off a series against the Cardinals where we faced Michaelis twice, and we faced Fetty twice, I think. So like that's a big help when you're facing, you know, some starters who aren't as good. But look, I mean, elite pitching is elite pitching. There's a reason. It's going to be harder to hit them. Crochet has been unbelievable this year. I'm still a little mad that the Cubs didn't trade for him, but
man, where would we be if the Red Sox didn't get Crochet?
Yeah,
I mean, they probably would have signed Fried at that point.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, that was so huge for them, for you guys, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Worth every prospect he gave up, no doubt about it. He's an
I have not
incredible
thought
pitcher.
about Braden Montgomery in months. I've not thought about I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
Yeah. There's no reason to.
Nobody thinks about Yohan Moncada.
Right. Yeah. Like Garrett Crochet has like you said, he might be the favorite. Him or Skubal, pick who you want. I haven't looked at the stats, so I couldn't tell you who I think.
Crochet is ahead in innings, ERA plus, and strikeouts, but like it's not by much.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll say he's the favorite to. If the season ended today, he'd probably win Cy Young. Why would you think about the prospects you gave up for that?
No, yeah. I mean, are you thinking about Isaac Paredes at all?
No.
Exactly.
I don't care about good riddance, honestly. He was so annoying to watch.
I mean, yeah, he was bad. He was bad with the Cubs, but he pissed me off for a long time when he was with the Rays.
I'm sure. He pulls the ball so much, and he just doesn't have like that game plan.
He's not built for Wrigley.
No, he's not built for Wrigley, and that's why I didn't understand the trade. But look, we used him to get Kyle Tucker, so again.
Yeah, that was my point. That was my point.
Yeah, I know.
But the Red Sox going up against Rhea and Imanaga and Boyd, a couple pitchers who, I mean, Boyd has obviously had himself a tremendous season.
Yes, he has.
What do you think has been the difference for him?
Maybe it's just that he's finally healthy. I mean, it sounds a little cliche, but it's not like his velocity is up a decent bit this year, so that probably helps. But seriously, man, he might just be healthy. His walk rate is at a career low too. So, I mean, I was very, very bullish, I'll say, on the signing, and I could not have been more wrong, and I couldn't be more happy to be wrong. But yeah, I think the Cubs, I guess they shored up his command a little bit. His issue was always, he gave up a lot of home runs, and this year that hasn't really been an issue at all. So, yeah, I don't know what the key to his success has been. Like I said, wheels up a little bit, walk rates down. So maybe they shored up his command. How they did that, I have no idea, but I'm glad they did.
I believe this Cubs active roster has 5 former Red Sox, which is pretty crazy.
Is it really?
Ryan Brazier, Brad Keller, Drew Pomeranz, Reese McGuire, and Justin Turner.
Wow.
That's
kind of crazy.
Yeah, and Brooks Kriski's on the roster too, who,
yeah,
I mean, he essentially played for the Red Sox when he was on the Yankees.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a lot of former Red Sox. Speaking of the Red Sox, what has been kind of, from the perspective of someone who doesn't watch the Red Sox every day, who watches their own team every day in the National League, in the National League Central, what has been the thing that, what has been the story of the Red Sox season for you as someone who's kind of following from afar as a fan of another team?
Well, you kind of mentioned it earlier with Bello and Giolito, but Giolito was incredible the last month. Bello's been really good. Once, they got those two guys back from injury, and I mean, I want to say they were a little rough to start. And once they started to pick it up, you guys played really well. But that Devers trade, I don't know, man. I mean,
I'm sure you weren't following that whole saga as closely as we all were.
No, yeah.
But we had that whole saga, and still nobody expected the trade.
Right. Yeah. I was shocked at the trade, I mean, look, I get where Devers is coming from. When they gave him the contract, he was signed to play in third base.
We don't need
It's the
to
same.
this whole
Yeah,
situation.
right. I won't. I'm sorry.
We've discussed this at nauseum.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But
Um,
the key that I've looked at with the Red Sox this year is the fact that they've got more depth in that lineup right now than they have had at most points. Obviously, the pitching has been great, but the lineup is scarier than it has been at points in the past because 1 through 9, it's unless Connor Wong's in the lineup, there's dangerous hitters. What Ceddanne Rafaela has done over the last month and a half, he's started pulling the ball more, and he's been one of the best hitters in baseball over the last 45 or so games. Carlos Narvaez this year, nobody knew who he was when the Yankees traded him to the Red Sox, and he was a borderline all-star. Now we're all concerned about the workload for him, as we are for Crochet and a bunch of others. But anything we get out of Narvaez is awesome at this point. I do think the Sox, if they want to buy, do need to add a catcher because to kind of protect against Narvaez and also just get Connor Wong off the active roster. And then Trevor Story has been a solid hitter for the last month and a half. And that's helped make this lineup deeper for sure. And when you are facing a lefty, it's Romy, it's Refsnyder. And now when you're facing a righty, you've got Yoshida back in the mix. So, and obviously with Bregman back in the mix, I almost forgot about Bregman being back in the mix because he's been back for like 3 days. And the Red Sox now are as healthy as they've been all season heading into the stretch. And you have to be as healthy as you've been all season. Now, Patrick Sandoval is still, who knows what's going to happen with him. Did you even know Patrick Sandoval was on the Red Sox?
I think I did, but is he on your guys' active roster?
No.
Or is he on the IL? I knew he was on your guys' roster.
I don't think he's
because I was
a long time.
Yeah, I knew he was on your guys' active roster because we were talking about him in the Cubs chat a couple weeks ago for some reason, and so I looked him up, and I'm like, oh, he's on the Red Sox. That's cool.
Yeah, still not like fully healthy with Sandoval. Who knows about that? Tanner Houck is kind of broken. Cutter Crawford's out for the season, and now Hunter Dobbins is out for the season. So that's a lot of pitchers to still have a solid rotation. Obviously, the Sox need to do something in the rotation. Walker Buehler has not been good at all, but Richard Fitz has been solid enough. They obviously traded Quinn Priester early in the year, and now you know that the draft pick that you get from that is Marcus Phillips from Tennessee. Obviously, he's not going to help the team this year, but a fun project for the long term to look at. The Red Sox aren't in hell with their pitching staff right now the way they would have been over the past few years had they dealt with this many injuries. And in the bullpen, it's Justin Slayton who's hurt right now, and the Sox need him back as soon as they can get him back. But the All-Star break came at a really good time for the bullpen. Weissert had been pitching a ton. Bernardino had kind of been a little broken, now a little back, and they needed to give him some time. Wilson Chapman has been tremendous all year. He's back to this is his best season in a very long time, and giving him obviously a couple days where he doesn't have to think about it is always going to help. Whitlock has kind of become a 1-inning reliever now instead of the multi-inning weapon that he was. They've tinkered around with him too much, and they found something that works now. And they're like, all right, let's do it. We're not going to screw around anymore. They screw around too much. But the Red Sox right now are in about as advantageous of a position roster-wise as they have been all year, with Yoshida healthy, with a whole rotation of outfielders, Wilyer Abreu and Jarren Duran, and Rafaela, and obviously Roman Anthony, who has been on fire as of late. Still waiting for the power to really come in. It's not even the power; it's more just elevating the ball, because he's hitting hard grounder after hard grounder after hard grounder. That's why he's hitting such a high average at the moment over the last however many games since the Devers trade or whatever it is. But the Red Sox have options when they play with their outfield and with their infield, and at the designated hitter position. The pitching has to keep walking the tightrope, though. The bullpen's been great because the starters have been great, and when the starters weren't great, the bullpen wasn't great. You look back to May when Brian Bayo went 5 straight starts without getting through the 5th inning, and Lucas Giolito was unreliable. It was one good start, one bad start, and they were losing crochet starts like over and over again. They lost that one in Milwaukee that pissed me off. They obviously the only one they've lost since May is that Angels one where Christian Moore hit 2 home runs. They're like 7-1 in his last 8 starts, which is huge. But the pitching has been good enough to the point where now we're at a point with the offense where these bats are really coming along. Duran played really well for the last couple of weeks before the All-Star break amid all the trade rumors. And Abreu has been hitting. Rafaela, as I mentioned, has been hitting. And I mean, Meyer, it's coming along a little slower. He had a couple huge doubles in that Rays series. But for the Red Sox, with the pitching having been as good as it has been, kind of really lifting the team up and lifting it because you got Bayo's complete game, Crochet's complete game, kind of saving the bullpen. This was a good time for the All-Star break to come because now you have 3 huge series. I don't know if like you know this, but it's Cubs, Phillies, Dodgers for Red Sox right now.
Oh, wow.
It's the 3 first place teams in the next.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
This is make or break time. And it's why I've been saying the Red Sox should have made their additions now. Because anyone that's going to help you on your push to October in the last 2 months is you're probably going to need their production for the next 2 weeks. There's 2 weeks until the trade deadline. There's 12 games until the trade deadline. It's Minnesota after that. And yeah, you can probably take 2 out of 3 from Minnesota with this roster. But you can also get swept by Minnesota. You got swept by the Angels. You can get swept by Minnesota. There are so many possible outcomes for this for the Red Sox, and you got to get off on the right foot. Now, what is this series in this point in the season for the Cubs? What would you say is kind of the pressing topic for the Cubs at this point?
Well, the Brewers have been on quite the torrid stretch recently somehow. I don't know how they do it every year. What'd you say?
Good baseball team. They swept us.
I don't know if I'd say they're good. But
I have no idea how they're good, but they are good.
Yeah, they are good. The Cubs are like, I don't know what their record is this month, but it's pretty good, I think. And somehow the Brewers have made up like 5 games. And it's really annoying. We're only 1 game up on them. And I think that winning this series against the Red Sox, who are themselves playing really, really good baseball, that would be huge for us. All season long, with the Cubs first month of the season, it was a pretty tough stretch. They played Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Padres, Giants, like Phillies. They played all the good teams in the NL the first 7 series, and then after that they kind of struggled against teams above 500. Now they went out and won a series against the Cardinals, and they won a series against the Yankees, which is pretty good. I mean, those teams are at least solid teams. The Yankees are probably better than the Cardinals, obviously. In a series against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium is pretty big. And so if we can follow that up with another series win, that's again another good opponent. Really huge for fan base confidence in the team, because you go against, especially facing Bayo, Giolito, and Crochet. Those are 3 fantastic pitchers, especially Crochet. If we win 2 or 3 of the games, that's the quality of pitching you got to beat in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying, Sam? So
yeah.
This
will feel like that Rays series for the Red Sox. It felt like a playoff series. because it felt like every game was a game that the Red Sox needed to win. And this feels the same way right now for the Red Sox. Like we're at a point in the season where I wrote last week, the 7 games heading into the All-Star break are going to tell us a lot about whether the Red Sox will play meaningful baseball in September for the first time since 2021. And the Red Sox passed that test. But that doesn't mean that they are going to be playing meaningful baseball in September. They still have to pass these tests. And this Cubs series at Wrigley, like you can throw away all the the Red Sox are playing at Wrigley. That's pretty cool. And say this is 2 good baseball teams, and saying this has to feel like a playoff series. Obviously, you don't manage it where you're taking starters out in the 4th because you're trying to maximize every possible run you can get. It's not that, but it's got to feel like that. I'm betting the atmosphere at Wrigley is going to be a playoff atmosphere.
It's been. I went on when we played the Cardinals. I went on the Sunday night game, and it was unbelievable. Obviously the Cardinals and Red Sox are a little bit different just in terms of rivalry, but like the atmosphere at Wrigley has been unbelievable all year, and I don't expect it to be any different. The Red Sox come into town, like you said earlier, it's another historic franchise. It'll be a playoff atmosphere, 100%.
Sox haven't played in Wrigley like very much when they're good. Like I think they played a couple years ago and they were like trying to figure some stuff out. It was like a weird part of the season for the Red Sox. I think it was beginning of July 23, and July 23 was the month the Sox really went on a tear. I think Duran led off the series with a home run. Wait, was that 20?
I remember that. I remember playing. We played you guys in 23 We played you guys in 23 at Wrigley. We did.
Yeah, I remember that. I'm just trying to think. Was that beginning of July? No, it was right after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
I guess. Because Paxton had the bad start. That's right.
I remember that.
That was when Paxton was. And the Sox were like, this series hasn't happened very much when both teams are good. And it's really cool. Like these are 2 teams that like baseball's better when they're good. So it's cool to say like, hey, Sox Cubs. It's like a big that Sox Cubs means something different to you. Red Sox Cubs.
I knew what you meant.
Red Sox Cubs. And it's a big deal. Both these teams are good, exciting, like fun, young teams with exciting players that are really coming into their own on both sides of the table. And obviously for the Sox, and the series means a lot for both teams. The Cubs schedule is not as demanding as the Sox schedule over the next few weeks, but I mean you do get to play the White Sox, but then you have to play at the Brewers, and that's 2 big games. And I'll be at Wrigley next month. I'm excited to watch them play the Reds because I love Wrigley. It's one of my favorite ballparks.
It's a great park.
So, the Cubs have been kind of the NL team that like I've been watching more of than most NL teams this year because it would be the Mets, but I don't get SNY. But the Cubs have kind of been like the exciting NL team that I've wanted to watch this year. And I'm really looking forward to this series. I think no matter what happens, it's going to be exciting to watch. But man, I'm going to be like stupidly locked in on this game, on these games this weekend. I'm glad it's a day game Friday because I'm going to a concert tomorrow night.
Hey, there you go. It works out.
But Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, the Sox and the Cubs. Do you have anything else to say before we go?
Think so. I mean, like you said, it should be a really good series. You get like you said, Ray. He's been up and down. Imanaga's been pretty good despite dropping strikeouts, and then Boyd has been unbelievable. So should be. I'm excited for it. Like I said, this is huge for the Cubs. You know, if we can prove we can beat a team that on 3 really good pitchers at us, that's huge for our conference, and it's huge for you guys too, because you guys are going on a little bit of a gauntlet of a schedule these next couple weeks, and the Cubs, Dodgers, and Phillies all have 3 of the best offenses in baseball. So pitching shut us down, which I hope it doesn't. I'm sorry, but that's big for you guys. So this is a very, very very important series, and like you said, it'll be a playoff atmosphere, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I love getting. I don't get to do these pods, the preview pods, recap pods, very often. But I really do like hearing like, hey, what does this mean for the other team in this series, especially when it's a team that I can tolerate. Right. When it's the Yankees, I just want to say how bad the Yankees are.
Yeah. You don't really care. You don't really care what it means for them. You just beat them.
No, I care what it means for them. I care if they look bad from it. But
fair enough. Yeah,
in the National League, like the National League for me this year, it just feels like a whole different world. And you got to now the Sox have to play 3 of the best teams in the National League. I think it's the 3 teams with the best records in the National League right now. The 3 division leaders heading into the trade deadline. It's going to tell you a lot about this ball club. And I'm really, really excited to watch this team. Let's hope I'm really, really excited to watch this team on Monday.